very good morning to you. Thank you for staying with us here on Global Television. I'm Wee Agumofwegbe in Abuja, Nigeria, and this is Global Morning. Great conversations in front of us today. A lot again has evolved between yesterday and today. Nigeria is experiencing a new phase across many fronts. Some not very pleasant stories, but then we have very great stories as well. Stories that will not only motivate and inspire, but will just reinforce the belief and the hope that there's light already in front of us, not just at the end of the tunnel. That is not motivational speaking. It is, I mean, it just flows from the fact that we see in Nigeria that is beginning to work. It may not be spinning as fast as we want it to, but it does spin ultimately. For instance, we're now hearing that at least about 60,000 backlog, I mean, as part of backlog of passport applications have now been cleared, 60,000. Recall that the Minister of Interior, Tunji Ojo, had given a very clear directive to the Nigerian Immigration Service, that is the NIS, to say, look, within 2 weeks, we have to clear 200,000 backlog of passports. And this is just a few days into the issuance of that directive. We are now hearing, because, by the way, just yesterday, the minister had met with his counterparts, Ministry of Humanitarian, all right, Dr. Betta, to talk about the progress that his ministry has been able to achieve in the last few days. And he talked about these achieved to run for 2 weeks. That's the service, that is the NIS, has. Okay, but you may not have a hang of these developments until, of course, you understand where we are coming from with regards to backlog of passport applications. At a point, it was becoming like applying for citizenship of another country to the fee or the charges. This was not a matter of whether or not Nigerians were complaining about the charges. As far as I know, people were not complaining, were taking embarrassing too long. And one of the reasons we continually heard was unavailability of booklets. 1 minute you're in Asaba, they tell you, no, you have to go to Ekiti. You apply for a passport in Benin, they tell you, no, you have to go to Bayelsa. We're not having states where passport processing was easier than other states. And for the love of heaven, this is Nigerian passports, not Delta State passports, not Enugu State passport, not Lagos State passports, not Sokoto State passport, Nigerian passport. But from what the minister is doing now with these agencies, this paramilitary, if you like, whether it's the NSA, DC, the Fire Service, the Federal Road Safety Corps, even up to the NIS, that is the Nigerian Immigration Service, we are beginning to understand that there's so much of reform happening, and we can only hope and trust that this will continue so that we can have vibrant institutions, we can have functional institutions, and that way the public will be able to build confidence in these institutions, because what we have seen over time is a clear erosion of confidence in public institutions, and where that is the case, it becomes a real problem. One time, just to create a bit of a perspective, there was a bit of research that was done in the U.S., and Americans largely agreed that there were two entities they trusted. Now, guess who they were or what they were? These were the U.S. Army and Amazon. You can imagine that, all right? Nobody talked about political parties. I mean, they didn't even talk about the government. They said the U.S. Army and Amazon. Say same of our army, can we say same of our police, can we say same of our armed forces, our paramilitary, and so on and so forth. But again, the incentive we have now to believe or continue to believe that we can is that we're beginning to see real-time, measurable, concrete changes across different aspects and segments of our national lives. So we're taking a quick break now. I want to take a look at the papers for you, but then there's the conversation around the Nigeria Labour Congress and indeed the entire organized labor space. We'll talk about that after this break. Do stay with us. Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call a police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to.
Now time to take a look at the papers for you. The first one in front of us is the newspaper. Let's take a look at the story. The headline just above the nameplate. It says, Otedola hails Tinubu for successfully resolving UAE visa ban on Nigerians' flight resumption. Says Asiwaju is with presidents. We have seen Nigeria. I mean, let's give it up for Nigeria. Let's be fair to Nigerians. We've seen Nigerians show patience with several, successive governments. When we had former President Obasanjo, patience again. Snowballed into former President Jonathan coming on board full-time, first as acting president and next as elected president. It was patience that Nigerians were asked to exercise, and then it was former President Muhammadu Buhari. Another 8 years, and Nigerians were asked to be patient. And now this is a whole new phase in the governance of this structure, of this country, and we have President Bola Tinubu there, and Nigerians, no matter what it is. But Nigerians also want to see real-time changes, the sort of changes that they can put a finger on. And just about 2-3 days ago, the former head of state, General Abdul Salami Abubakar, retired. That also is elastic. All right, but it will market suffers 7 rulings against with 404 billion naira PBT. That is 404 billion naira profits before tax. All right, let's see at the bottom, just at the foot of it, this day newspaper. Gordon Brown Okonjo-Iweala call for stronger multilateralism to foster peace, shared prosperity. When you look at that, you see a picture of former Minister of Finance, who at the time also doubled as coordinating Minister of the Economy under former President Goodluck Jonathan, and now the Director General of the World Trade Organization. All right, she's seated with former British Prime Minister Gordon Brown, apparently having a very, very intense conversation there. But we need to go to other papers for you. This time, the Daily Times newspaper. Okay, above the nameplate of the Daily Times, FG agreements, Nigeria's flag carriers should be allowed to land in Dubai. Okay, that's the agreement. Corruption whiff rocks Delta Election Petition Tribunal is a lie, says Tribunal Secretary.